Hello and welcome. If you are watching this means that you were not here for class on November 3rd, Tuesday for World Literature. Let me double check that date. Yep, on November 3rd. Today we had our assessment, our big assessment for House on Mango Street. This is a project that we're going to work on for the next 3 days. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So you need to find some time to make this up on your own. And then we are going to be rocking and rolling as far as continuing on with the class. So I'm at the Google Classroom page right now, and the first thing I'm going to open is this World Literature, The House on Mango Street, a series of vignettes. Now, as I'm opening this, you'll see that this is something that you can just view. I am only going to be explaining the first part today because I don't want to throw this all in your guys' face and be like, oh my gosh, like this is a whole lot. It's a day-to-day process. So let's go ahead and read together. It says, for this project, you'll be writing a series of vignettes that are similar to those that we have read in Sandro Cisneros' The House on Mango Street. Of course, you should use the novel for help. Here are the requirements. You must write a series of 6 vignettes. And so I get this question again and again. A vignette is the chapters, guys. The chapters as far as The House on Mango Street. The first part, 2 vignettes. You should come up with an original title for your first vignette. You may change the title of your second vignette if you wish, but you not have to. My name is a perfectly fine title for this one. Ideally, the 2 vignettes that you should do should be about your house, and it should also be about your name. I would recommend for the first 2 vignettes. Down here is, once again, there's a part 2 and there's a part 3, but really, I said I wanted to focus on part 1 today. You can read through that by yourself. So how you will be graded. So length/format. This is out of a total of 150 points. So the requirements to get a 5 on your length/format. Vignettes are half, or they should say half a page, and describe a scene or produce a sketch. So describing a scene is something that I think is very simple or to understand, or produce a sketch. So a sketch could be something like when Nelly and Esperanza go into the pawn shop. Vignettes have a clear format. I just want to have consistent formatting. I want them all to look the same. Dedication and title page are done according to above requirements. That's a part 3 type thing. It's really simple. The second thing is style. So make sure that you're doing the following things when writing your vignettes. Your focus should be on at least one of the 3 things. So you're going to write a total of 6 vignettes, and whenever you write a vignette, I want you to keep these in mind. It says the majority of vignettes do the following: reveal character or mood or tone, have a theme, idea of its own that it wants to convey, or describe a scene or character that's important. You don't need to do all 3 for each one, but you want to make sure that you can say, okay, that vignette, Mr. McDonald, is really, it has a theme. That vignette really reveals character. The last thing is grammar. Styles taken into account. Paperator is a good website that can be used to check grammar. If you click on that, it brings up Paperator right there, and here's Paperator, and you kind of copy and paste stuff in here. It's relatively simple. One of the things is important to remember is that when it says styles taken into account, it is really the fact that style is taken into account. Sandra Cisneros does not have perfect grammar, but I think that she has a unique style that allows that. So one of the things I'm looking for is vignettes have few, if any, spelling and punctuation errors. Make sure you guys proofread. The next thing was that the document right below it is called uh, World Literature, the House on Mango Street Series of Next Part 1. So I went through and I completed this assignment. So how to complete first part. Reread slash, woo! Look at the first vignette. It's called A House on Mango Street. Look at how Esposito writes to try your best to imitate it. So what I did was I broke down I broke down this vignette. She writes about where she lived before. She moves on to her dream house. She talks about her house. She talks about her neighborhood. If you include most of the above, then you should have a good first vignette. And make sure to come up with your own title. Get this first vignette done, and then move on to the second one. Below is an example of my first vignette. The house on Kiva Court. We had lived at other places before Kiva Court, but not before I was born. It is where I grew up, on that greenhouse on the bottom of the cul-de-sac. My room, shared by 3 brothers, one deaf and blind and another controlling, I always slept on the bottom bunk. in the room that was designed for couches and TVs. Instead, it has beds, Legos, and action figures. A one-floor home where if the radio was playing in one room, it was playing in all. A one-floor home where if something was cooking in the kitchen, it'd be smelled throughout the house. A one-floor home where if someone was yelling, the anger would be carried into every room. Kiva cored a roundabout circle where we played hide-and-go-seek and slid down the hills into the ravines, where we were shoved out the door by Mom and Seven and didn't come inside until 7. There was Adam, Allie, and Nathan. There was Stephanie, Nikki, and Jenny. There was Jimmy, Karen, Chris, and me. Yes, Kiva Core was my home for 18 years. Everyone knew each other and everyone grew with each other. It was there that we raced big wheels and bikes. It was there that we played cards until late in the night. It was there that I learned innocence that the outside world wasn't the place I wanted to be. The next thing you need to do is work on your second vignette. I highly suggest writing the one about your name or something that has to personally do with you. Reread, look at the vignette, my name on page 11. Again, take a moment and look at format. Esperanza begins with writing what her name means. You may or may not be able to do this, but it can be a good start. She continues with how she got her name. It was from her grandmother, who she then goes on to describe a little. She goes on as what others think about her name. This may be something that you can do as well. You may also be able to write about what you think about your name. She ends with what it's like for her name to be. Perhaps you could write what you want your name to be. Use these to guide you, but try to be creative. You need to tile this with something like my name is fine. Below is my example. My name. In Hebrew, my name means the river of judgment. In America, it means to flow down. To me, it means sports superstars and usually being confused for a girl. I was named Jordan 4 days after I was born. My parents forced the name upon me, part of the tradition of J's from the Bible, and part because the nurses said it was time. Carlos, my middle name I inherited from my grandpa I never met, Don. Don and I are a lot alike, full of life, humor, and trying to make the best out of everything. Don was dead before I was born, but I live on, reminding others of his presence. With my friends, I am J Mac or simply Jordan. Nicknames never seem to stick, and my teachers always called me Mr. McDonald. I guess that's in my name now. I don't flow down these days, but flow through my students. I would have liked my parents to have more than 4 days to name me. I could have been Don Carlos. Something else doesn't remind me of girls that I've met with the same name. Instead, I am the river of judgment, grading students each and every day. Um, Work on your 2 vignettes. Make sure you get these first 2 done. You have 4 more to do, but we're going to discuss that a little bit later. There's a couple of things about this. When you open this up, you can create a file, like attach something to it, or you can just open up a Word doc. If you want me to look at it, you need to share it with me. Plain and simple, or I'm not gonna look at it. When you're writing, make sure you look at the criteria as far as how you are going to be graded. That's all that I have for today. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully you guys will write some great vignettes. Love y'all.